Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member. Thank you, Dr. Marrett and Dr. Arvizu. As a biological sciences major, I've spent a lot of time doing basic research, and as a physician, spent a lot of time in medical school doing research, and as a faculty member and a former associate dean, have mentored many medical students that have gone through the research process. So I understand that part of research is you do experiments. You don't always know what the expected outcome is going to be, and it often is that the biggest breakthroughs are the unexpected discoveries. And those clearly have, we can go back through our history and look at the law of those unintended discoveries that have really propelled our economy forward and our science forward. I appreciate the fact that we have to be very conscious of how we're spending the taxpayers' resources. We have to be conscious of the debt and the deficit. So we do have the resources to invest and make strategic investments. But it can't just be a discussion of cutting versus raising revenue. It also has to be a discussion of where can we get the best return on our investment. And throughout NSF, the Science Foundation's history, we see these discoveries. I'll quote a simple example. In the 1990s, the NSF led a multi-agency project for digital library initiative. There were 2 young Stanford University grad students that participated in this. One, Sergey Brin, was funded by an NSF fellowship. I don't have to, history is going to tell you what that research led to. It's a company called Google that is now worth over $200 billion and employs over 30,000 individuals. It's transformed how we live. There's countless examples of those unexpected discoveries that have spurred innovation and moved us forward. We can look at advanced manufacturing. It was NSF-funded research that produced one of the first 3D printers. I recently had the ability to go visit my alma mater at the University of California, Irvine, and visit the engineering department. And it's amazing what they can do now. And the applications of the 3D printing and the advanced manufacturing is really going to propel us forward, both in my profession as a physician, but across the board. Dr. Marrett or Dr. Arvizu, can you give us a few other examples of areas that NSF is focused tackling some of these challenges forward, on the issue of agribusiness, on the issue of, honeybees and so forth?
The list could be so long, I hardly know where to start. We actually produce publications around exactly that. There is a whole process we've used called traces, in which you could trace back, here's a given development and what led to that. So you've seen that a lot in what we've shown in the whole area of cognitive tutors that started with just some very fundamental work out of cognitive science that continued to be refined, that led finally to this whole notion that it's really, there is the company, there are the things that are done financially out of that about how you improve the whole tutoring process. We've cited time and again another that started with just some very basic research out of the conceptual notion of game theory that led to the use of the auctioning the radio spectrum, a process that has brought now billions of dollars to the U.S. government. We have then any number of ways in which it's quite possible to have some outcomes you just never anticipated. And as all of the examples show, it usually takes time. So these aren't things that happen all of a sudden, that it's matters usually of continued investment in areas, but there is no shortage of the kinds of examples, and my colleague is ready to offer some others.
I'll just give you the short version here. lots of technology that relates to the internet, web browsers, Doppler radar, magnetic resonance imaging, DNA fingerprinting, barcodes, to name a few. There's a host of others.
Well, thank you. We, in order for us to maintain this competitive advantage over the rest of the world, we are the most innovative country in the history of our planet. We have to continue making these investments to make sure we continue to lead the world in innovation. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.